Well, welcome. And it is Thanktuary. Jonathan thought it was February. He's confused. And you probably thought it was January. But big question, what is Thanktuary? Well, first of all, since we're all fundraisers, or most of us are doing that, we know that January has been following the greatest season of the year, where 30% of all donations come in just in the last month of December. So when we look at this time period at the beginning of the year, it gives us a lot to be thankful for. Maybe you didn't reach all your year-end goals, but regardless of that, as we look back over the last year, there are so many incredible people that you've been a part of, that have been a part of what you've done. Donors for sure. Many of you have volunteers, of course, staff that are working with you, the people you serve, family, friends, and of course, most of all, our Lord Jesus Christ. So when we think about Thanktuary and donor love, we're going to dive into this idea of it's time to celebrate. And maybe you're saying, Heather, who's got time to celebrate? Don't you know all we have to do in January? I'm like, yeah, I get it. You've got a lot of things going on. We got to get back to the ministry. There's always lots of ministry needs. There's the closeout from the year before. Board meetings happen in January or February, year-end reports, all of that. Yes, it's a lot. So we actually do, when we think about all that's happened in this last year, if we take some time, it really is good for the soul, for us, for our donors, to take some time just to celebrate and get filled up with gratitude. I realize that when we feel gratitude, we're different. And we feel fuller, we feel funnier, freer. When we feel gratitude, expressing gratitude actually becomes more natural and genuine. And it comes from this place where it becomes beautiful because it's relating to other people. It's really coming from a place of being real with human beings. So I want to, when I look back at the year before, and it is also one of my favorite times of year. Jonathan always talks about he loves New Year's Eve because he can think back. But, a simple exercise that I really recommend doing every year to help us be grateful and thankful people, you can do it both as a leader or personally. But I had a leader that used to start our January team meeting, the very first meeting of the year, by taking 4 minutes, and we'd write down whatever we're thankful for and fill up that 4 minutes. And then we take some time and share it with one another. It was fun. It made us laugh. There was energy in the room. It connected us to the people. And it also gave us an anticipation for this new year. So even as we start, because when we talk about donors love starts with having genuine gratitude. So let's try doing that now. I want to take 30 seconds and we're going to see if we can list out 10 things. Now, if you don't have a piece of paper, you can do it in your head. But I want to encourage you to see if you can come up with 10 things that you're grateful for about your work, that what was going on in 2023. And while we're doing that, Jonathan's going to sing God Is So Good. Oh, wait, did you want to sing that? I forgot to ask you ahead. Maybe not.
Could have cued the music right there.
Yeah, take 30 seconds right now, write down and see if you can get 10 things that you're grateful for. I came up with a list of 15 in my 30 seconds. See what you can do. Oh, I got a new one. That's a good one. Keep thinking. Just 10 more seconds. Maybe you got over the 10 thing mark that I put out there. Maybe you didn't quite hit 10. That's all right. But did you feel that? Did you feel what that's like when all of a sudden you start thinking about what you're grateful for? That's the kind of the nature of gratitude. It starts to well up inside and it naturally overflows. That's what happens when we take time to notice things around us. And with the kind of busy January that most of us have, it's hard to take that time, but you're doing it today. So congratulations for that. The idea is it naturally will overflow, and the result is it has to be shared. When you're feeling gratitude, it comes out. People talk about kicking the dog when you're feeling frustrated, but when you feel gratitude, it comes out in how you treat people. Now, I want to just invite you to put in the chat anything that you're grateful for that was on your list, maybe something that you weren't even thinking about before today. Like just boom, that popped. I had a brand new one, kind of maybe was the best of my list that I was. Put it in the chat, or maybe something surprised you that you hadn't been thinking you were grateful for, or maybe like what I just said, maybe something popped up to the top of your list and said, this is what I'm most grateful for. I just want to encourage you to share it, because that's the way we start with donor love, is by fostering this sense of gratitude that is truly in our heart. This isn't just about going through a webinar, eating our lunch, but it's letting that gratitude start to fill us up to overflowing. So if you are going to take some time to think about that, feel free. Any point in time, you can put in that piece of gratitude into the chat and share with others that they could enjoy that too. But now that we kind of got some gratitude going in our minds, got it flowing through our blood, we're really ready to start looking at, how do we celebrate Thanktuary? What does that mean to really celebrate, to appreciate, to thank, and to love on our donors? When I was growing up, my mom always would bring out the thank you notes in January. And maybe that's why I like the idea of Thanktuary, because it was something every year we'd get the thank you notes out. We'd write grandma and grandpa thank you notes for Christmas. We'd write each other thank you notes, and it was a fun activity that we just kind of created an environment where it made it fun. So, when we're doing our January type of activities, like year-end giving, doing thanks, these are automated. A lot of times we do these systematically. Some of you have it even set up. You don't even have to think about doing that. But when we have it automated, that automation doesn't necessarily touch the heart of our giving partners. When you show donor love and you share a heartfelt gratitude, they do remember that. There's another thing we always do. That's doing our end of the year tax deduction. Some of you are just breathing sighs of relief because you just finished that, or you had it done early and you're being excited. Some of you have jumped into your impact reports already and you get those ready. There are so many things that we naturally do in January that really create opportunities to say thank you to our donors. And we want them to know that and by their partnering with us, by their giving, they really are making a difference in this world. So I'm sure you've got a lot of these things done, and we're right at the edge of January ending and stepping into February. So when I think of Thanktuary, I actually think of January 1 through September. Boy, I'm making up words all the time. Through February 15th as Thanktuary. That's the time period I'm looking at, because why? What's the unsung holiday? Obviously, yeah, it's Valentine's Day. So many times when you think about elementary school, how many Valentines you got when you were in elementary school. My mom used to say, you can't get too many Valentines, but most of us probably now, maybe we get one, maybe two, because your kids make you a Valentine as well. But we can make our donors feel very special up and through that very special day in February. So since we're wrapping January up, don't worry, there's still lots that you can do to shower love, appreciation, and gratitude on your donors. So let's get into what are some of those ideas. Another great fundraising expert, a gal named Rachel Murr. I don't know if anyone follows her, but she's funny. And she shares 23 ways to shower donors with love. And if you text me today or email me, I'll send you the full list. But I'm going to just focus on my top 5. So that's what we're going to look at in this next few minutes. And you think, 5, how are we going to do that in less than 15 minutes? I don't know. It could be a modern miracle. But here we go, jumping into it. So the very first one is personal snail mail, thank you cards and letters. Yeah, snail mail, that's what I'm talking about. Now, how many of you love to get snail mail? I mean, I'm not talking bills or advertisements or fundraising letters even. I'm talking about cards and letters and packages. All right, I see some people chatting in there, a couple of emojis popping up. Yeah, I love it too. I mean, it's fun. It can make our day, especially, if you've been working hard and then you get that card and that makes you smile. So I'm thinking we all really do love to get real mail. And when I'm talking about snail mail, it's just two things. Number one, handwritten cards, and two, snail mail thank you letters. Both of those really can make a difference for a donor. Now, I don't keep all of my direct mail appeals, contrary to some people's opinions, because I do have my stash of stuff here. But I do have a stash of thank you cards that I look at or I have out, and that, there's those days where you go, oh, look at this. This is cool. And it just makes somebody feel special. So a handwritten card, something with a logo on it or an image on it, snail mail cards stand out as personal. Even if they're not all handwritten, but most snail mail cards are handwritten. So that's why they look like they're personal. You get something directly from another human being. So here's a couple of, when I think of snail mail, thank yous, they are easy to do. And these are my snail mail tips of what really can make something special. Yeah, a friend of mine who's a fundraiser, works in an organization as a development person, she actually works with her ED to every year in the January meeting, she brings in cards so that every board member at the end of the meeting will write 5 different donor cards by the end of that meeting. And she's trained them well. She's given them all that they need, a good script they can start from. They love it. And so it's not hard to do these things, but the key here is that number one, you're personal. You know, just the other day I did get a letter in the mail that said dear, and there was a blank there that didn't actually have my name in it. And then there was this great letter. So I actually hand wrote my name out. I'm like, I don't know why they didn't do that, but don't say dear friend. People have names, use it. And that is a way to make it personal. Be genuine and informal. I mean, warmth and being personable. That's what people are looking for, not the formality. But share your own joy of your excitement in receiving their gifts and what they've done in the past. Why was their gift a good decision? You could say it was perfect timing, or it touched lives this week, and it's meeting a critical need. Help people see why their decision was wise. And then if you can relate it to an ask, because if you had a recent ask, if at the end of the year you had a specific ask, connect it to that. And or connect it to your mission or a specific current need, but something that helps them see what that need is and why they gave. And then spell out, really what the impact could be. You're bringing God's truth to single women in hard places, or you're helping us provide ultrasounds for women who walk in the door when they need it the most, or you're helping feed a family. Something, you don't have to be long, but something that's clear about that impact. And then probably my favorite part of that whole thing is that you make it personal. Why is this personally valuable to you as a leader in this organization? How did it touch you? That's where that relational connection does happen. So if you do a handwritten letter like those are, that's one thing. Another option is doing letters that you type out that can be personalized, but they can be also generic enough that you could send them to your whole database, but just tweak it according to the type of donor. So you can input their name into it, make it personal. But if you're going to write a letter, here is the simple tips that I think really make those kinds of letters stand out. Number one, 3 paragraphs, celebrate their gift. You want them to feel good about that response. We got it. We loved it. We're grateful, truly, sincerely grateful. So we celebrate that gift. And then tell a very simple short story in the second paragraph of impact. And then connect it to a relational connection. You can invite them to be connected to something, to do something. And I'm going to share a letter that I just got after a donation I gave at the very beginning of this year. And I just thought it really stood out, different than anyone that I've gotten recently. But it said, Heather, thank you for your recent donation. There's something special about an unsolicited gift. An unsolicited gift like yours has more significant impact than you might know. It's a huge encouragement to our team. Your gift tells us that you think about the ministry even when we don't ask you to. It tells us that God's at work in your heart like ours. It makes us feel connected to you. The encouragement it brings is almost more impactful than the gift itself. So thank you. Thank you for being on the team with us. And may God bless your generosity. And then it says, I would love to know what prompted the gift that you gave to us. Many people are moved by the work among refugees here in Phoenix, and others resonate with our work among the unreached globally. Well, what motivated your giving? Would you mind sharing that with me? Thanks again for your partnership in this incredible ministry. I'm just like, wow, that really stood out because they understood who I was and they asked me to respond in a relational way to say, tell us what motivated your gift. And you know what? I actually did. I texted that leader and I said, here's why I gave that gift, and had a great interaction back and forth. So when you share things with people, you want to use words that really do touch the heart. Words do matter. So here's a list of some good heartfelt words that you can be aware of to use when you're wanting to share. Some people go, I don't know how to write a thank you note that's, genuine. I'm a task person. Well, here's some helpful hints there. And if nothing else, the last one, you. Use the word you often because it's about the donor, it's about them, not about us. And so the more you use heartfelt words, the more you're speaking to the donor about why you appreciate them. Here's a couple of really practical examples, and just made up, but this is around one organization I was thinking about. And in paragraph 1, we were saying, celebrate the gift. Hey, you made our heart dance with joy today with your generous gift. The sacrifice and your hard-earned donation for our birthday drive will enable more kids to celebrate their birthdays with their families. So I just underlined some of those key words that I highlighted before. So that just says, hey, it touched us. We celebrate what you did. Second paragraph, story of impact. See how short it is? Thanks to compassionate donors like you, Mateo and his twin sister Daniela recently celebrated their 9th birthday with a dream cake and balloons. The smiles on their face rated pure joy. And then the third paragraph, hey, we jump at the chance to have caring people like you visit our communities. So give us a chance, and give you a chance to see how your gifts are changing lives. Would you like to come for a visit? Give me a call. Hey, that's my number. So I could, you have my number to text me if you want to get some of this stuff. And I would be delighted to host you. So, that's an invitation to engage in there. And this comes from a real person. And when you sign a letter like this, you don't want to sign it, formally like Heather Ann Hicks, but just relationally, like you would talk to a friend, sincerely from Heather, and that, you got a PS there, PSs people like to read as well. And you notice that nowhere in this kind of a sanctuary letter that goes out are you asking for more money. It's not bad to ask for money in a thank you, but not in this kind. You want it to just be a pure thank you, which will shock some people. So, and I would say, here's a pro tip, is if you put a little handwritten one-liner. I had a leader of an organization do that, of a very large organization with a large database. And I got this little one-liner that said, hey, let's do coffee, call me. And I was shocked. I was like, okay, that was from them, really. That was personal. I took the time. You could say, hey, I heard it's your first gift. Welcome to the family. Or hope you do call me and come in for a visit. Those little handwritten one-liners on those kind of things, they take time, but they stand out to make people say, I really do feel appreciated. And it's just these two small words that can actually make a huge impact. And maybe you say, does it really matter? Is this just being polite? My mom always told me to say please and thank you. Well, check this out. How much does it really matter? Here's a good stat. Research shows that first-time donors who receive a personal thank you within 48 hours are 4 times more likely to give. Did you see that? 4 times. So when you take time, December, you might have got new people. maybe they want to target only January, February, up through the middle of this month, February, to target those first timers and just let them know how much you appreciate it. Here's another great stat that I got last week from Penelope Burke's annual donor survey. 90%, okay, that's huge. 90% of donors that said that thank you letter is the single most important influential communication they receive from the nonprofits they support. That means, think about all the time we spend on writing our impact reports and all of that. That's why we're talking about Thanktuary, because this really matters to donors. That caught my attention. And then there's this one. In a study that 25,000 donors got an extra thank you mailing, no ask, no reply. They gave 450,000 more than the control group that was in that 25,000 donors that didn't get the extra. So very significant difference comparing within a large group of donors, just what that kind of a response is. So don't let your donors be a one-hit wonder. Maybe that someone gave you $1,000 at the end of last year. From the moment you receive it, take time to share your love and gratitude, especially in January and February, because if you think about it, donors are paying bills from Christmas. It's a lot of bills piled up. January, you pay them all off, and then a little bit of love can go a long way. All right, don't worry. That was the longest number one. We're going to wrap it up much faster going forward, but I just think those things are so critical. I wanted to touch on some practical things. My number two here is a thankathon. And here's an example of a leader that did that. For 2 months, they actually called all of their donors. They dedicated 1 hour. They kept it simple. And it was just everyone was given their phone numbers and they said, thank you. We just wanted you to know how much we appreciate your commitment to, shared their organization or their mission. And you know what? They got people that were super surprised. There was no ask. It was like, that's all? Yeah, that's all. We just wanted to thank you. So you could you don't have to do all of your donors like they did, but you could do some of them. And you know what? That excitement that built up in this organization, she said, we didn't just do it last year. We said, we started figuring out how else do we want to do thankathons? And so here's another great idea. And I actually love this one. One of my personal favorites is that taking 1 hour of every week in the month and say, we're going to send text to donors. Now, again, you could target a particular group if you wanted to do people that are most recent, brand new givers, major givers, whatever you want to target. But when you text, obviously, when you're texting from an organization, you want to make sure to text your name in the organization because not everyone has your phone number. But texts are so personal, because you have someone's phone number. But the reality is, what's the open rate? 90% plus. So people get there and who gets angry at a genuine thank you text, So, hey, I want to actually challenge you between now and 1 o'clock, do it right now. Is there a donor maybe that you've been thinking about recently that, you thought, hey, I just need to touch base with them? Send them some donor love in a text right now. Just grab your phone and go, hey, been thinking about you. I mean, what do you want? Coffee? Let's together for coffee, or just wanted you to know how much I appreciated you. Do it. Just pick up your phone. See what happens. And hey, if one of you does this and you get a reply, which I'll tell you, I've done this in sessions and people, they have donors they can't get in touch with by email and they send them a text that's some donor love. And you know what happens? They reply right away. And if that happens to you, put it in the chat. Tell us what you did and what their response was, because donor love is contagious. When you love on someone and they respond to you and then you share it with a group like this, everyone's like, okay, this is fun. This is good. So this isn't just a task, not just another task to do in January. This is fun. All right, number 3, Friday photos. Everyone loves a good photo. So when I look at this is idea came from this organization called Roots Ethiopia, and it was part of a Get to Know Us series. They were kind of doing some acquisition, and I got caught in that, and I just thought this was a great idea. And if you send someone a great photo, and I'm saying this typically is an email. You just have one caption, nothing else in the email, no ask, no nothing. It's just a photo. And, if you want to do what really is good is you add a thank you caption in the bottom, and maybe something like this where where it says, thank you, Keisha. Thank you from Keisha and all her friends. School used to be just a dream, one that you helped to make come true. So, just a thank you caption that goes along with a photo. That just people will read it, people enjoy it, people appreciate it. Simple way to do it. Here's a couple of other examples, and I love this. Miss Connie proudly points to her new apartment on 6th Avenue. That tells a little micro story right there. Thank you for helping her find the way home to security, dignity, and a fresh start. That's powerful. And then look at this image. Can you imagine being Lindsay and getting this sent to your inbox from an organization? That's personalization at a level that's not expected. These are people that Lindsay may not have ever met or will ever meet. We love you, Lindsay. That's personal. That's donor love. So sending some kind of a picture that just has a caption that captures people's attention. And I love these points here, not going to read them all, but it catches people and it helps those skimmers to say, okay, this is cool. Just it's a simple formula, a little content and a thank you. And if you do that, you're capturing people's attention and it makes them smile. It's a feeling that they walk away from more than anything else. And you know what? Maybe you can't do photos, but here's something else. Maybe you get thank you notes from people you serve. And here's a cool thing. You send this out as a picture. It's a beneficiary note. And you put something like this. Emma said it. Thank you. What a beautiful difference you made this Christmas for her and her family. So that's just an image, and it's sharing some of the donor love that you get in the ministry. Or you could use a quote from someone, or you could all kinds of ways to make a picture that touches your donor. All right, number 4. See, we're going faster. Number 4, we appreciate you videos. And video is kind of the thing right now. Videos are powerful. Even a 30-second video of you saying thank you or your participants saying thank you. Donor appreciation videos puts a face on your organization. It lets people have a window into something. This is an example of one, which is the short video that was sharing a time of worship. I think, what are some of the special moments that you have in your ministry? Are there baptisms? Are there times when people do celebrations? Is there a word of appreciation that someone shared with you and go, hey, can I just capture that? To be able to share with some of the other people that are behind us doing the work. You could share it with your staff as well as with donors. Just a thank you. It makes a lasting difference, and it can make a difference for generations. So these videos, it is a thing right now. It's like, that's what people are going towards. So help donors see it, feel it, experience what you get to experience on almost a daily basis with the stuff that you're doing on a regular. They may never come in and see it firsthand. You can help them get a glimpse into that. All right, number 5, finally, last but not least, donor celebrations. So, this idea of a donor celebration, it doesn't have to be complicated. All you're trying to do is honor the amazing contributions that donors have made that have ended up and resulted in significant impact in lives. So there's lots of ways to do it, depending upon the size of the organization, the number of donors that you have. Are they spread out far away? Are they all together? This isn't a fundraiser, so I'm not talking about doing a fundraiser. No asks, just showing impact and showing your appreciation for donors. And you can call out some donors, you can share a story of a donor, you can do all kinds of creative things. And it doesn't even have to cost you. It does take time to plan it. But here's an example. Charity Water did their very first donor celebration last year. They called it 22 Reasons to Celebrate 22. Now, this email just came out at the beginning of the month, January 10th. And I love it because what they're saying here is we did it. In December, we set an ambitious goal and invited you to join us in achieving it. Clean water for 200 communities. So they're going back and they're saying that's what our year-end goal was. The numbers are in, and we're here to let you know that we didn't achieve our goal. We surpassed it. We blew it out of the water, you might say. You hear that pun? They blew it out of the water, charity water. All right, yeah. So this year they're doing it again. And so what that looks like is they said in the rest of their email, because clean water for 250 communities is well worth celebrating, we hope you'll join us for Remarkable Together. It's a live celebration, virtual celebration. They tell you the date, the time, completely free, of course. We simply want to say thank you. Now, I'm going to personally check it out. I'm going to be there. But when you think about a donor event like that, the key, three simple things. One, make it donor centric. This is not about the organization. This is a time to honor, to inform, to connect your donors and help them feel like they're part of something bigger, making a difference. Highlight the outcomes, not just the outputs of stuff you did, but what was the result of what you did. And then take some time to share some cool stories that you hear that you always said, I just want them to hear it. You can capture those stories in lots of ways already. So think about the impact of an event like that. You create joy, you increase their awareness of what is going on in the organization and how many people are involved. You get a sense of we are really making a difference. And I'd call that donor love. So that's my top 5 right there. Well, and it all starts with gratitude. When you have a heart of gratitude, jump on, use snail mail, try some kind of a thankathon. Use Friday photos if you can. Grab some great photos. Pick a date, even if it's not February, but the beginning of the year is so awesome because people have just given so much and they got some pretty big bills. And it's a great way to start out the year. Plan a donor event, send some videos. So what are some ways that you've done this? We're gonna stop me talking now and just open it up. We'd love to hear from you if there's some ideas of things you've done, or if there's some ideas of what you picked up from here that you want to do. Feel free to share with us, because that's what this community really is about, is how do we learn from one another? So I'd love to hear from some of you.
I'll jump in real quick. Yeah, great stuff. The text message stuff, I just think everybody should be doing it. It's quick, it's easy. You know it's going to get read, and it's just a great informal way to touch base and express appreciation. And you can put two things together, Heather. You talked about video as well. Well, it's pretty easy to send a video by text message these days, right? And so think about how you can do that. Maybe you're gathering as a staff. Maybe there are 4, 5, 6, 8, 10 of you. What if you just took the first 2 or 3 minutes of staff meeting and everybody in there texted 2 or 3 givers? Can you imagine? Right? That's 30 people in 2 minutes, or 20 people in a couple minutes that are getting a thank you, appreciation text, or maybe even a video. So some real easy ways that you can begin to get even more intentional with this. So yeah, love it.
That's a great point, because it relieves some of the guilt we carry that we never do enough.
Yeah.
That's kind of nonprofit leaders. We go, we never do enough. You take a moment and do something like that, you get an immediate response. You kind of feel that a little bit lighter as a result of it, and you know that they are smiling and it made you smile. So kind of all around is really a big win with a very short investment of time.
Yeah, I wonder, what are some of you guys doing for thank yous? Are you doing some of this stuff? Are there some other things that you might add to this list and say, here's something that we found to be very effective and is much appreciated by our people?
We'd love to hear from you. This is opportunity to learn from some great people. What do you do?
I just unmuted. This is Bridget with Hope Kids. I'm in Texas, but I love sending, it goes along with text messages, but the voice memo feature is great. So I'll sit here, and if I'm feeling gratitude for a donor, I'll just send them a little voice memo, like a minute message, just saying, I'm so thankful for you, or I just attended this event and, just wanted to share how grateful I am. And so I've had great response from the voice memo feature on the phone.
I really appreciated the way you said, when I have a moment where I feel some gratitude, when it comes out of that place of genuine, you feel it, and then it happens. It's easy to do, kind of overflows, and the result, people feel what you did, what you do, and you get a good response. So voice memo, I love it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
thank you for sharing that for sure. Yeah, what else are some of you guys doing?
So I just had a really great idea of, because we do a lot of social media and things like that. And as you guys were talking, I had this great idea of doing like a thank you video, right? So we do a lot of different videos, testimonies and things like that, but I just envisioned like a whole bunch of people, men, women, thank you, thank you, thank you, and then something at the end that just shows our appreciation, and then that's it.
Mhm.
I
Love
think it's
it.
so the no ask, because we tend to do that a lot. We include an ask at the end of almost everything. So I think just an intentional thank you is so important.
This is Andrea with Hope Kids Arizona. Something that we've done before, we typically do this in November for Thanksgiving, but you could certainly do it in Thankuary as well, is we host just a little breakfast for some of the moms that we serve. And, we pay for breakfast, and it's a great opportunity for connection too. But it's also intended for them to spend that time, connecting with each other, but also writing thank you notes to some of our donors. So we usually come prepared with a list of 10 to 20 top donors that we really would love to receive some special thank you notes, bring the cards, etc. And then they all just spend some time, writing them, and we give them some tips on, what a really impactful card looks like, because sometimes, people just think, thank you, and that's it. But I really encourage them to share, the impact it made on them, on their family, share a little bit about their story to, just really make it more of an impactful thank you. So yeah, within those hour or two that the moms are connecting and enjoying a delicious breakfast on us, they're also making a big impact on our donors.
Way to go. Not only are you thanking donors, you're also helping those that you serve understand how to do genuine appreciation. And so you've equipped them to do that. And so it's, going all the way around, it benefits everyone. They learn to say thank you. And it's not just to the organization, but it's directly to donors. So it's that connection between what we do and our donors. When we do that, that's where donor love happens. And I can imagine those people that get those handwritten thank yous. Have you gotten feedback on those that you've done?
Oh yeah, people are always so grateful. I think that's something our organization's really good about, is doing the thank you notes. And we get a lot of feedback from donors of just how special they are and how touched they were. So yeah, we get a lot of positive feedback on those.
Yeah,
I'm
I
sure
would
that's
say
interesting.
the other thing I would say from a sort of a philosophical standpoint is a really good question to ask yourselves is, am I about to ask somebody for money or more money, and before I have thanked them or appreciated them for their last gift? So, right, I think that is a real challenging question for a lot of us. And a lot of people get plenty of appeals, right, from us, but have they been thanked and appreciated for the last gift that they gave? And so put yourself in that situation, right? If you just give and never hear back or never feel appreciated, and all you continue to get are more appeals and more asks, right? How would that make you feel as a giver, as a just as a supporter or a partner of that organization? So
Yeah, great reflection. That's
yeah,
a
really,
great reflection practice, Jonathan. Yeah, and when you're making your communication plan for your fundraising, this is a great way to build some of that in as well. What I love about being focused on the first 2 months is you kind of set a tone in the beginning of the year. But what Jonathan just said, in doing that as a rhythm throughout the year, it's kind of like you ask, you report, you thank. How did that go? So it's that practice of asking, thanking, reporting on what it is that anyone's donation has done. Anyone else? Thoughts, insights, ideas?
I love the idea of the virtual um, donor appreciation, because I can see it taking like 30 minutes. Everybody can zoom in on an evening from their own home. But I like the idea of sending out a little party favor box so that they can have their own little snacks and stuff right there. Like, like, because you come from a long line of, you have to feed people. And so I was just thinking, like, we could put together this little party box and then everybody would have their own little snacks while we have our little virtual celebration.
Love it. Very fun. I would join in that one. And if anyone wants the link to or I could send you the email that Charity Water sent. If you want to see it and join in, just email me that. And this is that same thing that I was referring to right in the beginning of 23 ways. So I just highlighted 5. And if for those 5, you're like, oh, I already do 4 out of those 5. I only got one new idea. I'm glad to send this one as well if you respond to our follow-up and just let me know that you want that. Any other questions or other comments before we wrap up?
I do want to end for us here today, and thank you for being with us. Of course, reach out if you want to book some coaching or talk through some more stuff. All that's free and available. And you can schedule us at venture19.org. And we're just going to journey with you in 2024, just like we always try to do, and just try to help you be the best that you can be. Because when you guys are at your best, needs are being met, the gospel's being shared, the kingdom's being built, and that's why we're all in it. So let me take a minute and pray for us. So Heavenly Father, thank you again so much for these few minutes together. God, I just pray that you would continue the discussion as we hang up here today, and something that you want us to maybe implement, or maybe something else that you're speaking to us about. Just help us to gain that direction clearly from you. And God, we thank you for our donors and our partners. They are provisions from you, right? You are helping our ministries move forward by raising up other people who love us, love the work, and feel called to it. So we're so grateful for all of that, and just continue to show us how we can express that love and appreciation. God bless these leaders in a special way. We love them so much. Just work through them in incredible ways in the upcoming days. And we pray all these things in Jesus' name. Amen.